In the misty, forgotten lands of Auralise, where mountains sang with ancient melodies and rivers whispered secrets, a young woman named Lyra lived in the shadow of her ancestors. Known as the village's most gifted musician, she could calm the fiercest storms and bring joy to the heaviest hearts with her harp. Yet, she lived unaware of the prophecy tied to her name. One fateful dawn, the peaceful harmony of her village was shattered. A shadow covered the sun as the dreaded Veilwalker, an ancient entity of chaos, descended from the mountains. The Veilwalker's goal was clear: to silence the Song of Auralise, a mystical melody sung by the mountains that maintained peace across the realm. Without the song, darkness would spread, and all life would fall into despair. The village elders, trembling with fear, revealed that Lyra was the keeper of harmony, chosen to restore the song and save Auralise. Lyra stood in stunned silence, unsure of the enormity of what she had just been told. Her harp had always been a tool of joy, not battle. But in that moment, something deep within her stirred a realization that her music could hold the key to saving everything she loved. With nothing but her harp and a map etched in silver ink, Lyra set out on a journey that would take her across treacherous lands. Her path was clear: to reach the Temple of Resonance, deep in the heart of Auralise, where the Song of Auralise could be restored. To get there, she would need to travel through the Howling Chasm, and into the Forest of Echoes, a place where spirits of the past roamed, and where the echoes of lost melodies resided. Along the way, Lyra encountered three unlikely allies. First was Kael, a rogue swordsman banished from his homeland for a crime he did not commit. His enchanted blade, forged in the fires of an ancient forge, had the power to cut through the darkest of shadows. Kael, though a man of few words, quickly became one of Lyra's most trusted companions. His brooding silence masked a deep pain, a past he had yet to reconcile. Next, Lyra encountered Isolde, a mystical healer whose eyes shimmered with the light of the moon. She spoke of hearing the whispers of the spirits that guided her path, and although she carried a mysterious aura, there was a gentleness to her that made Lyra feel safe. Isolde's magic was tied to nature itself, and her abilities were crucial in healing the wounds the group encountered along their journey. Lastly, there was Thorn, a half-wolf scout with heightened senses and an instinctual connection to the wild. His loyalty to Lyra was unwavering, and though he spoke little, his actions spoke volumes. Thorn's ability to track and find hidden paths proved invaluable, and his fierce protective nature ensured their safety. Together, they traveled across treacherous terrain, facing monstrous creatures twisted by the Veilwalker's dark magic. Each day presented new challenges, but Lyra's resolve grew stronger, guided by the melody that only she could hear. The Forest of Echoes was a place of haunting beauty. The trees sang in muted tones, their branches swaying to an ancient rhythm. The air was thick with the fragments of the Song of Auralise, a melody that had been broken, torn apart by the Veilwalker's chaos. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the ground beneath their feet seemed to hum with the remnants of the lost song. It was here that the group faced their greatest trials. Lyra found herself standing at the edge of a burning village, watching as flames consumed everything she loved. Her family, her friends, all were gone in an instant. But just as the smoke began to choke her, she heard a faint melody, a soft sound coming from the depths of the forest. It was her harp calling her back, urging her to play. Kael's trial was one of betrayal. He found himself face to face with the man who had falsely accused him of treason, and the emotions that surged within him nearly broke him. But Isolde's gentle touch and Thorn's calming presence helped him rise above the illusion. Isolde's trial was one of loss. She found herself in a meadow where the ghostly figure of her lost lover stood. He called to her, beckoning her to join him in death. But Isolde, remembering her duty, refused, choosing instead to help Lyra restore the song. Thorn's trial was the hardest of all. He found himself alone in the forest, surrounded by the wildness of his wolf nature. The primal instincts that had always kept him alive now threatened to consume him. But Lyra's music, soothing and soft, reached into his soul, grounding him and allowing him to overcome the wolf inside. The forest tested them all, but it was Lyra's music that broke the illusions. As she played her harp, the melodies began to rebuild, piecing together the fragmented song of Auralise. It was a moment of realization: Lyra's harp wasn't just an instrument, it was a tool of harmony and healing. The group finally reached the Temple of Resonance, an ancient structure carved into the mountain, its walls pulsing with the faint echoes of the Song of Aurelies. But the Veil Walker stood before them, its presence a swirling mass of shadow and discord, consuming the light around it. The Veil Walker offered Lyra a choice: surrender her harp and walk away unharmed, or risk everything to restore the song and face destruction. The dark entity's voice was like thunder, reverberating through the temple. But Lyra, drawing courage from her companions and the memories of her village, refused to yield. The Veil Walker unleashed its chaos, warping reality into a storm of shadows and discord. The temple began to shake, the very ground beneath their feet quaking as the Veil Walker distorted the world around them. Chaol, Isolde, and Thorn fought valiantly to protect Lyra, but they were no match for the Veil Walker's power. Lyra alone stood before the entity, her harp in hand. She began to play, the melody flowing through her like a torrent of light. The song grew stronger, piercing the darkness, and the Veil Walker's form began to crumble, unable to withstand the harmony of the song. With each note, the light in the temple grew brighter. The Veil Walker screamed, its shadow unraveling, until finally, it dissolved into nothingness. As the Veil Walker faded, the Song of Aurelies erupted in full glory. The mountains echoed with the harmony, their ancient melodies filling the air and restoring balance to the realm. The temple glowed, its carvings coming to life, and the magic of the song washed over the land. Lyra's harp transformed into a shimmering artifact, a symbol of harmony, before vanishing into the ether. Her task was complete, and she knew the song would protect Aurelies for generations to come. Chaol found redemption, his honor restored. Isolde discovered peace, no longer haunted by her past. Thorn embraced his dual nature, no longer torn between man and wolf. Lyra returned to her village, where she was celebrated not as a hero, but as the keeper of harmony, a reminder to the world that courage and unity could restore balance in the darkest of times.